Every building project needs sawhorses, and lots of them. The job we're on now probably has a dozen or more sawhorses on it, and you still can't find one because we use them for not only cutting, but also for storage so that we don't have stuff sitting on the ground and getting damp.
Of course, you can buy sawhorses at the store. I've seen them range from a price of $30 to $40 each, or you can build them yourself out of wood that you probably have on the job site anyway for about $12 in material each.
The best part though is that you can make as many sets of these that match each other at any time you want and have them immediately.
Now you mentioned that all the sawhorses should match. Is that so they look pretty?
Yeah.
No, not really. All right, let me tell you why. They need to match so that at least they're the same height, because we don't just use sawhorses in pairs of 2. A lot of times we'll use 3, 4, 5, even up to 6 when we're supporting super long material like these 28 or 32 foot long LVLs that we've been using recently.
So of course, over the years, Jamie has developed our ideal sawhorse design. And today we're gonna show you how to build a set, and we're gonna share the drawings with you for free.
Are you seriously gonna give away my plan for free?
Yep.
To everybody?
It's not that amazing.
He knows it's just some wood nailed together, right? It's like,
Evidently not.
Let's see how many people actually download these things.
Dude, Jamie knows everybody here.
No, he hadn't even made it in the store yet. Wait till he gets in.
Since you're making sawhorses, you should just go on inside and get the clamps that we sell, because you put the 2x in, and then you have literally just like a chip clip. Best thing you can use.
Jamie, this guy's trying to run your whole video.
What? Hey, now. Dude, I need this sawhorse video. Don't blow this thing up for me, okay?
You really didn't know we sold those?
Sawhorse brackets,
One
one
pair.
pair.
Look at that.
How much are they?
Those are the big industrial ones. Now, if you look right here, these are $6.99.
Okay.
It's going to do exactly what you need with the 2x4x8 studs that you're buying.
Really?
You put one 2x here, one 2x there. You mount them in. Put your second one there. It gets you perfect angles every time.
Perfect angle every time?
Jamie's face just dropped when he saw.
I'm afraid they're gonna be really good.
They actually have one of these sawhorses here that really scares me. It has really sharp edges, and when you fold this thing up, it just feels like a meat cleaver or a pair of scissors. I've had some of those, and I literally took them to the dump because I am scared of them.
Yeah, same here.
Making all purpose there, but who knows how much lumber on it. 2, 4, 6.
We're back at the shop now. Even though we bought the metal brackets, we could end this video now and just make them out of that. But there's way more to the home-built sawhorse than you might think. Now, I got to give credit to Sherman Culvard, who is my father-in-law, and he is one of the designers of the angle that I use in my sawhorse design. So I give him credit for that. Now, back in the old days, Sherman used to say, when you had to interview for a job, now he's a contractor, and when he interviewed carpenters, he would say, build me a set of sawhorses, I'll come back in a few minutes. And if I like them and you did a good job, you'll get hired. If they're terrible, it's a no-go. All right, so the sawhorse is like almost like a rite of passage. If you can build one and prove your worth as a carpenter.
Catch you later.
it's a good thing I kept my real estate license active. I might need that one.
Here's the deal. We're in our woodworking shop because it's really cold outside today, but we're only going to use standard like job site tools to build these.
Time to build. To start with, I'm going to cut the 2 top pieces. One is vertical and the other one will be flat like this. I have an 8-foot board. I'm going to cut it dead center at 48.
Need some sawhorses.
Yeah, really. Now that the 48-inch top pieces are cut, I'm gonna move on to the next component, which is the legs. These legs will be 32 inches, and I can get 3 of them out of a 96-inch stud. Now that I have my leg cut to length at 32 inches, let's tackle the hardest part of this whole thing, which is cutting this angle cut at the top of the leg. You can see I have it marked out here, and the dimensions are 1/2 inch from the edge here, and then from this corner down 3 inches. It's the same as a 412 roof pitch, I just found out, which is 18.4 degrees. Now, if you're gonna make a lot of sawhorses like I do, I took some scraps and I made
Are you joking me right now?
I made this little jig I glued together that you can just place on there and trace it so that you don't have to measure. So if you're gonna do this a bunch of times, it just gets tedious measuring and marking a 1/2 inch across and then 3 inches down. And I only mark it on one side. That's why I only have one jig, because I can cut it through a bandsaw. But because we're cutting it with a skill saw today, I marked it on both sides.
There you go. You're gonna need that.
Sweet. Now this you could sell.
think
People would
so?
I'd buy this thing.
Now, how do we make this cut happen pretty easily and accurately? Well, I can tell you, you are not going to set an angle on the saw and try to bevel cut it, because it's steeper than the saw is capable of being set to. Instead, we're gonna cut from the end and just cut halfway through from one side, and we're gonna flip it and do the same and hope that our cut's lined up. Now, I'm gonna give you a real pro tip here. I almost feel guilty for giving this away for free, but hey. What I recommend is to not cut the board from this direction, because the guard will have to be manually retracted by your hand, making it more difficult to see your line and potentially a little more dangerous. Instead, cut from the end of the board like this, because the guard will automatically open as if you're doing an easy cross cut. Another difficult thing here is holding the saw perfectly flat to the surface of the board here. It could be very easy to allow it to tip side to side, which would ruin your cut and ruin your horses and your day, and then probably that week. To remedy this simple problem, what we're gonna do is take a few of our other leg pieces that are not cut yet, and we're gonna use it to place the saw on, making it really easy to keep the saw flat and not be tippy. I took my time making that cut, and I made really precise marks to follow, but as you can see, the cut still didn't match up perfectly from side to side, but this won't have any drastic effect on the sawhorse, and if you can get this good of a result, it'll be just fine. Since I've looked at a lot of sawhorse designs online, I wanna say that my sawhorse design is a little bit more narrow in the stance, and also it doesn't have any unnecessary components, like extra braces or anything that would make them heavier or make them more difficult to stack together. Mine nestle together when you have 10 of them and you bring them all home for the day. You can put them all in a very small space. I believe we've finally reached irreducible complexity.
Jamie has the remainder here of the third 2x4 for one of the horses to make up the last two components, and that would be this 41-inch board that goes between the two sets of legs, and these two 12 1/8 inch long pieces, long point to long point, that go between each set of legs.
And the angle on both sides here is a 412 on your common roof pitch. Right there it is.
And there is zero waste except for that and that and that. So if you're doing this for yourself and your boards are any less than 96 inches, you may want to take some off of that 41-inch piece. You can make it 40, you get an extra inch.
We're gonna start assembling now, and I'm gonna do something kind of crazy. I'm gonna nail it together with a 16 gauge finish gun. Now, it's just to tack it together, but to me, this is the easiest way to assemble it and make it exist as one whole unit. And also, it allows a little bit of flexibility if you need to tweak this thing because of all four legs not touching the floor evenly. And even if you made all your cuts perfectly, the 2x4 material is just simply not perfect, and any imperfection in a twist or a bow can cause this thing to not sit flat. Once the whole sawhorse has been assembled and tweaked if it needs to be, I will go back and add 3-inch framing screws to secure the whole thing together. Here's my process for assembling. I like to start with the top, and I make a T-shape out of the two 48-inch long pieces. Then I nail the legs to the top, and then I add the leg braces. I like to set the leg in 1 inch from the end, and the reason I started doing that originally is so that I had less of a chance of this piece splitting when it has a bunch of fasteners through it from both sides. Now that I have the legs attached to the top piece, I'm gonna make some marks where these cross braces go. I'm gonna measure up 12 1/8 of an inch from the bottom of the leg to mark the bottom of the leg brace. Now, you might be thinking, oh, 12 1/8. That's exactly the length, long point to long point on this, and it's no coincidence either. pretty close. We must have done a reasonably good job of cutting those angles because it's all working out, all right?
I'm a coffee snob, I'll say it. I don't drink gas station coffee. I like really good coffee, and I really enjoy getting up and getting that first cup of coffee in the morning. And I've really been enjoying today's video sponsor, Everyday Doses Coffee Plus, and their new Bold Coffee Plus. So let me explain the plus part of the Coffee Plus. It means along with the Arabica coffee extract, which is delicious, you're also going to get functional mushrooms, collagen, and nootropics, which can give you boosted energy, elevated mood, gut health improvement, improved sleep, and better management of stress. So it really is better than a normal cup of coffee. You get all of those benefits, yet you don't have any different taste that's weird. It tastes just like a really good regular cup of normal coffee. You get all the benefits. It's easy to make. You can mix it with hot or cold water. You can add your creamer or whatever else like you normally would. And it actually is less hassle to make than regular coffee. The powder mixes flawlessly, quickly, unless you're like me and you try to run the frother full speed before you've had any coffee and thought about it and make a mess everywhere. I did clean that up and enjoyed the coffee after. That's why I need coffee. Make bad decisions before my coffee. I've been drinking the Bold Coffee Plus lately. You get 90 milligrams of caffeine per serving, which I really like caffeine. I'm not sensitive to it. It makes me like superhuman, so I love that. And it really has less crash, and I don't get jitters or nervousness, anxiousness like I do drinking that much regular coffee, which is awesome. If you want to try Coffee Plus for yourself, there's 2 links in our video description down below the video. Tap the first link in the description and use code PERKINSBOLD for up to 46% off Everyday Doses new Bold Coffee Plus. And if you're an existing subscriber, you can add Bold Coffee Plus to your next order by tapping the second link and following the steps. Thank you, Everyday Dose, for sponsoring our video. Let's get back to work.
Why didn't you cut the flat angle on that?
You know, I would be tempted to do that so it'd be all nice and perfect when it hits the floor, but actually I leave it on purpose because most of the time these are set up in the dirt, and these actually kind of push into the dirt a little bit and add some resistance to the legs spreading apart when they're loaded down heavy. Now that I can see the Sawhorse is sitting pretty flat on the floor, it's time to add the screws and permanently attach it together. I'm gonna start by screwing this flat board on the top down. I'm gonna stay away from the ends, about 1 foot probably, because that's the place you're gonna be sawing this thing up the most and cutting into this replaceable piece.
What's up with the 40-year-old drill?
You know, this thing just won't die. It's not that I love it that much, but I can't kill it. This is probably the most critical part to screw together really well. I like to put 4 screws, a couple near the top, about 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch down, and then some down lower.
Hey, can I have these when we're done?
Fine with me.
Dude, I have no Sawhorses. That's great.
How's it feel?
Right. That might just be my muscle, but...
Jamie's got these Sawhorses complete, and they're truly beautiful. They're strong, they're level, they're everything you'd want in a Sawhorse. We are gonna compare them though in a little strength test versus using those brackets in just a minute. But I do want to point out something that would be a disservice to not mention is that this is not a complete workstation, 2 Sawhorses. It's great if you want to cut off the end of a board like this and let the offcut fall. But in the case you have like a 16-foot long board and you need to cut it in the middle, you don't want to be sticking that much out, like 8 foot and an 8-foot offcut. It's not very good. And if you cut in the middle between these, this is going to dip like that and it's going to bind your blade and it's going to cause you a major heartache. So what I would recommend is building a full-length workstation that supports the board completely. Jamie's got one drawn up in SketchUp here, and this is great because it'll support the board if it's not super stiff, and you can cut it anywhere throughout the length. The offcut won't fall and your blade will not bind. So this is something we do especially for siding and finish material every time we set up the cut.
I don't know, Jamie. This is going pretty fast.
I know, it's definitely killing us in the speed category.
Drywall screws? Is that what you're using?
That's what every homeowner has, is drywall screws. We're trying to make this a fair comparison, you know?
So there was no instructions on the container about this except stick legs in there and stick a board there, so that's what we're doing.
He's gonna lose his mind if this is just as good. I'm telling you what, I can't wait to see what happens.
Sawhorses look fantastic.
Thank you.
If someone showed up to a job with those, I'd be like, sure, build my house. The other ones, seems like it's gonna work for minimal duty, but if someone showed up with that to build my house, I would maybe question the integrity of everything that's gonna happen. Maybe, I don't know. Hey, give her a wiggle there. Okay.
Wow!
Wow,
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
Look at that.
That's probably like 1,000 pounds or more.
I mean, that's good. Oh man, look at it. It's like perfectly split too.
The thing is that board broke. The Sawhorse itself didn't break.
I know, the brackets are still fine.
Brackets are still good since 1906, Daddy.
Yeah, and you can build it again probably. Man, no, it's
Nah.
wrecked.
All right, swap it out.
All right, I guess I gotta do the same test, huh?
Yep, exact same controls.
All right, there's some pressure.
Go for it. She's holding. Wow.
That's all I got.
Okay. Good job, little horse.
Great.
Okay, see if you can just do it in.
Didn't you say I could have these?
Oh,
What am I gonna do with one Sawhorse?
there's one.
Thing never had a chance. Anyway, they both failed because of racking, right? So both of these designs could benefit from some bracing or some brackets that added that lateral stability. The straight down force of both of them was so strong that I don't think you'd ever break them just by putting a normal amount of wood on them on the job site or any normal activity on the job. I think they'd be safe enough to put a walkboard on, to stand on with a guy or two, you know, all those things that we do regularly. I think they're great. It's just that side-to-side racking. So here's my takeaway from that is put it on flat ground. Because that motion that we inflicted on it with the machine was extremely exaggerated from what I think it could ever experience on flat ground. What do you think?
I think you're safe.
Yeah.
Unless you try to trash it with an excavator and then you're...
Yeah, exactly. Well, we got some glue and some clamps, so I think we're gonna resurrect this one. Jason?
No, burning.
That's a wrap on Jamie's long-awaited building the Sawhorse of his dreams video, and he got to do it and destroy it and then analyze everything about it. So I think it was a great thing to do. Make sure to check out the screenshot at the end of this video where you can see all the dimensions of all the pieces if you want to build yourself a nice set of Sawhorses that should last a long time unless you have an excavator. Thanks for building with us.
It seems kind of strange to me that there's no like reference book or a definitive authority for like what a Sawhorse design is. You know, like a building code almost.
I'm thinking you should write this
a prescription.
book. You.
A design.
You write a book.
You know, they're so common. Yet where can you go?